Morgen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Neumann and I'm from European Space Imaging, partner of Planetech Italia, and I would like to thank Planetech Italia very much for inviting us, my colleague Brandon Carlson and myself, to present to you today the capabilities of very high-resolution satellite imagery, especially for geointelligence applications. So I will start with the first part, which will be a technology overview, and Randy will do a workshop focusing on real cases, real applications in the geointelligence world later this afternoon. My presentation is split basically in 4 parts. The main part is an overview of the satellite constellation that's leading. That's the leading constellation today, and our direct access facility that we operate in Munich, which gives our customers and partners unique capabilities and quick access to satellite imagery. Our company, European Space Imaging, was established 2002. We're based in Munich, Germany. We're an SME, currently 35 staff members. But we have very good and very strong partners. We have local or national partners, like Planetech Italia representing us here in Italy. And we have strong technology partners. We're working with the German Aerospace Center, who are helping us to host our own ground station that we operate just outside of Munich. And we have strong suppliers and satellite access partners such as Digital Globe. Our focus is to offer high-resolution satellite imagery, optical satellite imagery, derived products and services. But I think we're more than just a commercial vendor, because we're really specialized in bringing these products quickly to our customers and partners, and we do this through direct satellite access. These are just some examples of 30-centimeter WorldView 3 imagery over Rome. Now zooming in a bit on today's location. This is 30-centimeter optical imagery and the highest resolution of non-classified imagery that's currently available. There are a lot of private entities, commercial entities, but also a lot of public administrations, both in the civilian but also security-related domain, that are working with and using our data. These are just some of them. So I'd like to explicitly mention the European Union Satellite Center as one of the European institutions that we are supporting, amongst many others. We're also providing data to a lot of national intel and defense organizations, but also international. As I said before, we're accessing the world's leading satellite constellation, VHR, Very High Resolution Satellite Constellation. This is the largest fleet that's currently out there. You see the development that started with ICONOS in 1999. That was the very first high resolution, meaning sub-meter, optical satellite providing commercially available data. ICONOS started in 1999 with 80-centimeter resolution at its best. And you see the development until now, 2016, where basically starting this week, Friday, with the launch of WorldView 4, there will be 2 30-centimeter satellites in orbit. And you see the development from 80, 60, down to 50 and 40 centimeter imagery, so an increase in the resolution, also an increase in the availability of satellites providing sub-meter data. Currently, we will be having 5 very high resolution satellites in orbit, but there's also archive data available that goes back to 1999 from the satellites ICONOS and QuickBird, which were decommissioned in the meantime. So, as I said, the archive goes back to 1999. It currently covers more than 5 million square kilometers of imagery. That's more than 30 times the world's landmass. And this archive grows by 3 million square kilometers every day and will be growing even faster with the additional satellite capacity being added later this week. I've emphasized already the trend in going into higher resolution. At the moment, we have with GeoI1, WorldView 2, WorldView 3, and then WorldView 4 coming later this week, 4 satellites that provide resolution less than 50 centimeters at nadir. Real 50 centimeters. Again, an example of 30 centimeter imagery here in Rome. And I'd like to point out again that Randy will show some more, also more concrete examples from the geointelligence world later this afternoon. Another very special aspect of the satellite constellation is the spectral insight, because that's also something unique to this constellation of satellites. There are 2 satellites providing more than just the usual 4 multispectral bands. WorldView 2 was the first one with 8 multispectral bands, adding access in the coastal, yellow, red edge, and a second near-infrared band. And now with WorldView 3 that was launched 2 years ago, there are additional shortwave infrared bands that are also commercially available, plus some KVIS bands which will help to correct the atmospheric impact on imagery, and I will show you some examples later. This is just a very complex overview of the additional spectral resolution added by these 2 sensors. And an example that shows how the SWIR, the shortwave infrared bands, can actually help to see through smoke or haze. In this example, a wildfire. This is a natural color composite. And by adding SWIR information, you can actually see the extent of the fire and where it's burning. European Space Imaging started in 2002 as a regional affiliate of Space Imaging at that time. So we were the first ones to operate the European ICONOS ground station. In the meantime, we've added another one, which we call a direct access facility, and that one allows us to access the WorldView satellites when they're over Europe. This is the satellite, the receiving station's dish on the roof of the German Aerospace Center just outside of Munich, and our control room. From here, we have control over the satellites when they're within the European communication zone. And this is quite important because by this direct access allows us not only to define the priorities, or to define a collection plan and prioritize collections, but also to quickly downlink the data and start production of the products and disseminate the products to the customers and partners. This circle illustrates our communication cone and the area where we have direct access. Of course, we're providing global data. I would like to mention that, but within this circle we have a lot of flexibility that our customers benefit from. Every satellite crosses through this reception cone about 1 to 3 times a day. And if you imagine that we will be having 5 satellites very soon, that's a lot. This allows us this gives us basically sub-daily access to very high resolution satellite over every point, every coordinate within this reception cone covering Europe and North Africa. Our direct access facility, our ground station, will now be upgraded with the launch of WorldView 4 to have access to all the WorldView satellites, WorldView 1, WorldView 2, WorldView 3 and WorldView 4, and also in a virtual mode to GeoINT. So we will be able to plan the collections for all these 5 satellites over Europe. And the way we do this is we're defining a collection plan up to 20 minutes before the satellites are entering our communication cone. We start with the preparations for this collection plan days in advance, and the fine-tuning is basically taking place the very last hour, where we're looking into and monitoring the development of the weather in real-time mode. So we have access to Meteosat data that we overlay with our collection targets, and we can see where the clouds are developing, where the cloud fronts are moving. And with optical data, of course, our intention is to maximize the quality of the data that we acquire. And we can acquire a lot of data, but we would like to acquire a lot of cloud-free data. So we would like to make sure that the data that our customers get is actually useful. And that's why we're monitoring this very closely. So we're fine-tuning the collection plan and also maximizing area, not only good area, but area in general, in a very detailed procedure, very detailed scheduling plan preparation. This scheduling plan is then uplinked to the sensors as soon as to the satellites as soon as they enter our communication mode. And by steering the satellites directly, so to say, we can also do things with the satellites that a centrally tasking system would not necessarily do. This is an example that shows in pink or purple the ground track of a satellite on a given path, and you see in red the scans, the areas, the strips that are to be or that are acquired. And what you see in yellow is the way we are maneuvering the satellite to actually point to cover these areas. And that's another example which shows also somehow how we are avoiding collecting clouds. What you see here are the clouds, the situation of the clouds at the time of the collection, at the time when we're acquiring. So we also had targets to acquire here, but it doesn't make sense to acquire clouds. So we were concentrating on acquiring larger areas here where it's cloud-free. Then we steered the camera towards Puglia, acquired some strips there, and then back to Macedonia, and then on to Sicily. These are just some examples to give you an idea of what we do, what's our daily business with the ground station. And by operating our own ground station, we have a lot of advantages that we can basically offer our customers and partners. That's one of the main aspects is that we can provide input into the collection planning until the very last minute. So we have an emergency order coming in. We have a phone call from Bari informing us about, or basically bringing to our attention the necessity for an image of Amatrice, and we can include it and try to maybe collect other less critical orders in the same area that could be potentially conflicting. You never know. We collect them on the next pass. So this last minute information that we can incorporate is quite important. It gives us the flexibility to respond to our customers' requirements. the real-time weather information that I've mentioned before allows us to maximize the quality and maximize the results of the acquisitions. And as I've also mentioned before, we spend a lot of time in optimizing the collection plan. Because especially over Europe, clouds are an issue. Not so much in the Middle East or in other parts of the world, but in Europe they are. So we want to make the most out of the satellite access, and we want to provide the best imagery to the customers. That's why we spend sometimes up to 4 hours per satellite pass in defining and optimizing the collection plan. The last minute information, so we can include customers' requirements or even also impact from colleagues inside the company up to 20 minutes before the satellites are entering. We downlink the data immediately after collection. So it goes straight back to the ground station just outside of Munich, and the production of the imagery can start. And this is an example it's an old example, I have to apologize, but it's still the best video that I have, that is showing, at that time it was Iconos. You see the dome over Europe, which is the communication cone of the ground station. You see the satellite flying north-south, more or less. And as soon as it enters the communication cone, there's a contact established to the ground station, and the collection plan is uplinked. So the satellite knows what to collect. So that starts now. And once the collection plan is uplinked, the satellite starts acquiring the targets as per our instructions. And like Iconos did at that time, also all the WorldView satellites and GeoINT, they acquire single shots, longer strips, multiple strips next to each other, strips that can follow a coastline. So we can turn the satellite to do a long strip, for example, along the Adriatic coast or Libyan coast, depending on the requirements of the customers. And now I would like to finish with 2 products that I would like to present or introduce. One of them is ACOMP. ACOMP was released last week, and it's a product option that that basically came with the CAVIS bands now being available for more than 2 years on the WorldView 3 satellite. These CAVIS bands allowed Digital Globe to offer a product option called ACOMP, which is available for not only WorldView 3, but also for QuickBird archive imagery, WorldView 2, WorldView GeoINT, WorldView 2, and WorldView 3. And it basically minimizes the atmospheric impact on the imagery. So the images are, the atmospheric impact is minimized to, maybe best to show some examples. Haze is removed so that imagery can be better interpreted visually. You see through the haze. And the reflectance values are equalized. This is supporting automated change detection. So here's some other examples. Hazy imagery. Of course, you cannot remove the clouds, that's clear, but you can minimize the atmospheric impact. And again, a direct comparison over Hanoi, which really shows a huge improvement in the quality of the imagery. So this is a product option that is now commercially available for the multispectral products. And another product or product portfolio that I would like to introduce is the Raycon products, which are 3D information derived also from Digital Globe satellite imagery. And this is just showing the core model of all the RICOM products, which is a 3D surface model. So this is a fly-through. This is purely based on satellite imagery. The 3D information, the features, it's all from satellite data. These products have a 50 centimeter resolution and a 3 meter spherical area. Very high locational accuracy. And since these products are generated from satellite imagery that is globally available, such products are providing insight into areas such as North Korea where there's no real access. So RICON has just, our partner RICON, a joint venture of Digital Globe and Saab, they have just sold the entire coverage of North Korea to the US government. We will also have some examples later in the workshop this afternoon of Libya and Afghanistan, and you're very welcome to have a closer look. As I said, it's all based on such a 3D surface model, which is the core, available at 50 centimeter resolution. But there are different product options within this suite, such as a 50 centimeter DSM, which is also available at 10 meter resolution. And very recently they also released a DTM at 50 centimeter resolution. There's also a point cloud product available and a true author. So this one shows again the product suite. All these products can be individually ordered or as a package. And there's also software that, free software that comes with it to explore the data in case there are issues with, in case there's no software available on the customer side, but they're also competitive with all the commercial off-the-shelf software products. I would like to thank you very much for your attention. So that's my last slide. And bring to your attention again the workshop this afternoon where Randy Carlson will provide more concrete examples from the GeoINT world. Thank you very much. Oh, one more thing. For those who would like to hear more use cases on high-resolution satellite imagery, next week we're hosting again our WorldView Global Alliance conference in Munich with contributions from the EU Satellite Center, EMSA, Frontex, and please contact me if you would like to participate or attend. It starts on Monday evening and it finishes on Wednesday. Thank you very much.